Alright, this is Michimotsu, and I might want to try to extend this a little further, but I only really have two more premises to confront, and that which leads up to 13, which I wonder if Christian Voice 08, the one who's posted the video that I'll probably put in the description along with a few other things to just guide you around to this issue that I seem to be having. Anyway, Second Humanist Manifesto that Dr. Phil brings up, he says it, was backing off their position when he was talking about them wanting to take religion out of the schools and all these rantings that he probably has. They weren't backing off their position they were humans essentially religious. They were simply arguing that there's necessity to separate church and state, and since there isn't a church of humanism, not to mention humanism doesn't religiously support evolution, it simply points out, yes, there's a lot of evidence for it. Creationism in their hand is making speculations out there ass quarters. But there is a church of Christianity, and positions that are based on the Christian theistic worldview would logically not belong in a public school, since I think many people can say it's the job of the parents to teach their children about whether God did it or not, or about what they think about the whole thing. It's not the job of the school to go into a science class and then start talking about God, and then the kids are going to be asking, what does God have to do with science? And then pretty much it's going to be about trying to justify the position when it doesn't have any real weight in the scientific analysis. And last but not least, this is more the fact that these are in significant order means I'd have to watch the video again, but I believe he's basically trying to equate atheism and secular humanism in some regard, or saying that atheism equals secular humanism when it technically doesn't. I was already having a discussion with a friend about this, and basically, if anything, atheism, like theism, like polytheism, like animism, these are characteristics of systems of religion that are named. For example, theism is a characteristic of the systems of Christianity, the Baha'i faith, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism to a certain extent, if you think about the Brahmin areas of Hinduism, and polytheism applies to many, I hate to say pagan, we'll say, I don't know, for the moment pagan or very tribalist traditions. Or Wicca, for another example, even though it's more bitheism. But to say atheism and secular humanism are the same thing is like saying cookies and cake are the same. They both have sugar, they both have flour, all that. But cakes, not to mention, have a lot more volume to them. To make this analogy to religion, or atheism and secular humanism. Atheism can be is by necessity a part of secular humanism, I would think, very much. But secular humanism has manifestos. You don't see atheist manifestos. You don't see a church of atheism. You see atheists in groups, sure, but that doesn't necessitate that they're religions any more than a political party consists or is actually considered a religion, because it's pretty much not. But if anything, yes, I've already said this, but I'll say it again. Atheism, if anything, is going through inductive logic and saying that it's not likely that there's a God. It's not saying anything through deductive logic would be saying that there is no God. Which, if we're talking, and that would be the bigger confusion we're going here. I am having difficulty wording myself, but this is my first take, and I like to try to get it done on the first take. Forgive me for that. I plead. But if anything, yes, I think some of the biggest issues here are mostly that Dr. Phil, while well studied, it would appear, yes, I'm not going to claim he's a complete intellectual dolt. I'm saying that just because he has studied at a seminary about atheism and agnosticism and Bertrand Russell and all these other atheists, and then he's compared to Christianity and said that, well, Christianity actually holds under a standard of evidence, which I think is actually utter crap, because if I will be permitted to bring up both Pascal and Kierkegaard, two of the Christians that I would actually probably like to have a conversation with more than many others. If anything, when you try to say that Christianity follows and holds to evidence and stands up to critique, then you've already negated Christianity, it seems to me, because, as Kierkegaard and Pascal said, in order to actually try to reason out Christianity in any sense, which, well, Kierkegaard didn't really think you should at all. Pascal at best said that there is some reason in Christianity and in those positions, but at the same time he said that in order to actually try to find the reason, then you have to take a leap of faith. And in Kierkegaard's own words, that was how it worked. You had to take a leap of faith. In order to try to argue anything about Christianity would pretty much be negating the point you were trying to make, that Christianity is not something that is able to be argued for or against, because the believer has already been convinced of the truth of it, and the non-believer is missing the point that the believer has taken a leap of faith and is not making these statements of belief based on an argument. So if anything, I hope that Christian Voice 08 listens, takes this for what it is, and if he wants to, he can message me, maybe unblock me so I could have some more civil conversation, because I believe wholeheartedly that I was having a fairly civil conversation with him in the replies I was making. Seems to me Christian Boys 08 was the one being uncivil, because he was automatically claiming I was completely without any worth in the argument just because I didn't have a PhD, which seems utterly ridiculous, because it's not as if universities these days are saying that the professors are the only ones that can have new ideas and the students just have to listen to them and shut up, which doesn't really work that way. And I don't think it should work that way, because that's only going to stifle the creativity of the students, and it only makes the professors seem like elitists, and the PhDs especially would seem like elitists if they don't have a receptivity to people saying, okay, I understand a lot of these, I've studied under you, I've read many of your books, I've read books related to your study, but I don't agree with this, I think you're wrong about this. If the professors, the PhDs are not receptive to this sort of thing, it's not going to create any kind of conducive environment for debate or discussion or dialogue in any sense of the word. And that's all I plead. Although I somehow doubt he's actually going to care about this video, he's probably just going to write it off, if you'll excuse my pessimism anyway. But anyway, I hope everyone's enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy the nice pictures that have serves the background for my ramblings again, except this is a little more serious because I've actually taken it upon myself to try to do a relatively rigorous analysis and rebuttal and critique of this supposed PhD's accurate description of atheism, which I believe is quite utterly wrong. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Michimotsu. See you later.